Hey, everybody, we're live and we're here with the Meeple Show, and we have a special guest today, Cassie Sikes. Welcome, Cassie. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
Good. That was
Making it
a that
work.
was a, that was a real y'all. That was a good
I
y'all.
know I'm in Oklahoma and I've been here for a few years now, and so it's in me. So sorry.
No, that was
No.
good. I like it.
Um, act- I saw a comment the other day from someone who's not from the US who was like, "But do you actually say y'all? Do you actually say it?"
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
they
But I
sure
tell
do.
you, I grew up in Nebraska, which is more of a Midwestern state. Like we don't say y'all there.
Mm.
But I knew I was going to go to school in Tennessee, and so I started saying it as a joke, and it stuck. And now it is so ingratiated into my vocabulary. I don't think I can knock it out of me if I
Oh
tried.
no. Yep, I've done similar things where I made fun of some stuff and now I say it.
I
Yep.
say I say y'all all the time. So,
Oh, good.
and
Okay,
I'm from
great. Part of the
Canada.
club.
So. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just think it's more inclusive of everybody, anyways. So I try to say it instead of you guys, although I say you guys a lot still, but
Yeah,
I try to say y'all.
I like it.
Anyway,
It's good.
I say
so
folks.
yeah, folks is good. Folks is great.
Yeah.
Cassie, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, who are you? We now know you're from originally Nebraska, but now in did you say
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you are a voiceover actor, person. And tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a voiceover artist. That's kind of a newer
That's
thing
the
that I've
term.
been
There you
doing.
go.
Well, I think you can call it whatever you want because I'm still new to it. So hard to say that I'm officially that until I've done it for like a year, I feel like. But and also I am a game designer, which is crazy to say, and I don't even know that I felt comfortable saying that until probably this last month. Uh, but I think that's probably part of why I'm on today's show is because I have a card game that I created, and I, being very new to the industry, have started going to conventions this past month. And just realizing how much of a huge community there is in this, I had no clue. I did not know that there was already like a well-trodden path to getting to becoming a game designer. It kind of feels like I've been on this journey it's been for the past 5 years that I've had this idea. And I've been like wandering around in the woods and then have come to a rest stop and realized, oh, there was like a path I could have gone on. And so now I'm kind of seeing like all of these other resources and people that are out there that are, wanting to show you how you can actually bring a game to market. So it's been fun getting to learn what that community is like, and also just getting to share my game with the world. Like that's the most fun thing for me.
And you're not just a game designer, you've published this game, you've been selling this game, you're a publisher as well.
Which is
So
again, it's a term that like if there's that whole imposter syndrome thing because it doesn't feel real
yeah.
sometimes. But yes, yeah, I can give you kind of the origins of my game itself if that would probably help.
Yeah, tell us
So
about your game.
yeah, yeah. So my game is Jibber Jabble. It is a cooperative guess the secret word game where basically you have to work together spelling out clue words to get one person to guess the secret word, but you're not allowed to communicate as to what clues you're trying to give. So very simple. There's a few other things that make it a little bit more complex and fun, but it was an idea that I came up with 5 years ago on a family vacation. We had been playing a lot of games, and I remembered this. I was a theater kid growing up, and I remembered this game we used to play. It was kind of like an improv exercise
Hmm.
where you had to build a sentence with everyone saying one word at a time, and you
Yeah,
couldn't communicate as to what words you were saying. So I
one
was
word
like, I feel
sentence.
like exactly. Yeah. So I thought, I feel like you could break this down a little bit further and you could add in that mechanic of trying to get someone to guess something. And so from that, like, I played with my family that weekend. We had a blast. And over the past 5 years, basically what's happened is every year I have felt a wave of motivation for like 2 weeks at a time, where I will just think, I got to get back to that game. I got to do something more with it. And so it's like every year I would hit a different milestone with it, never really anticipating that I would try to bring it to a wider market, but more so just kind of following the natural next step. So after I came up with the idea, it was like that fall that I started trying to design it into an actual card game. And I had two copies printed just for me. just to be able to say I made a card game. And then it was like the next year I was like, I'm gonna just order 100 of these and just see if I can sell them to friends and family. I'm not a salesperson though. And so it was just kind of word of mouth. And again, after I sold those in a few months, I just kind of left it, on the back burner. And then it was like the next year I was like, I should try it again. So I ordered like another 250, and then they literally sat in my closet for about a year and a half. And it wasn't until just this last November that I decided, okay, I really need to sell those things that are in my
I
closet
need
because I need
closet
to make some
space.
money. I need
Oh,
closet
and
space
money too. Money's good.
and the money. Yeah, I'd quit my job in June and was kind of in this season where I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, I at least need to sell these. That would be good.
Yeah.
So I launched a website in November. It was actually, this is kind of cheeky, but it was the day after the election. And I was like, people are going to be on social media for very different reasons. And I'm going to capitalize on that. And I'm going to make just a very quick little video for all my Facebook friends, hoping maybe I would be able to sell like 30, maybe before Christmas.
Right.
And I sold out of all 250 that I had. And so that's when I was kind of like, I should really investigate this more, figure out how you publish it in a very um, legit sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Started looking into conventions and like speed pitching events, stuff like that, and just kind of doing a lot of research. That's when I started to find all of these Facebook groups like Board Game Design Lab and just local groups. It's crazy how many
Yeah.
people and groups and communities there are out there. Anyway, so all that to say, that brings me to now, March. I went to my very first convention, TokenCon in Oklahoma City, and it was awesome. And I learned so many things that I was doing wrong, but also so many things that I was like, wow, I can't believe I got here just kind of wandering around on my own.
Yeah. So
And so much of it you just kind of followed your nose and figured out, and it's just so
Yeah.
impressive.
it's really cool that you did it
Sorry,
very
you said you were starting
intuitively.
to.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
So it's okay.
we're basically saying the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm lagging a little bit behind you. Maybe I don't know. Am I? Yes.
Maybe. I'm
Okay.
also just slow to respond, so it could be
No, no,
that.
no, no. It's okay. So it seems that you just kind of, had this intuitive notion of how to use word of mouth, how to reach out to people. Timing, like they say, is everything
Hmm.
in terms of like improv and comedy, like you said, in theater.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. And you're talking to two people who love the theater and, worked in the theater.
Good. My
Kat used to work in
people.
the theater. Yeah. And so I think that there's a lot to be said about people who are just naturally, it's not extroverted, but it's about creativity and art
Yeah.
and trying to get an idea across that turn into a product, but doesn't have to be a product, but is something that you want other people to experience, right?
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
and so tell me a little bit about like how when you were doing the semi-viral marketing piggybacking on the elections last year, what
Yeah.
exactly did you put out? Did you like just do a little video of yourself, or was it like playing the game, or how
Yeah.
lo-fi was it?
It was so lo-fi. It was like shot on my iPhone 11. It was actually here, like in this space. I just put on the cutest top that I had, and I literally I came up with the idea to do it like that morning at
Yeah.
probably 8:30, and I was like, I'm just gonna be impulsive and do it. And so I spent probably like 30 minutes kind of figuring out what I wanted to say. It was maybe like a 2-minute video, something like that. It's on my Facebook page, where I was just saying, "Hey everyone, I made a game. Like, I'd love it if you buy it." And I kind of explained the rules. And I tried to use my experience doing like acting and stuff and
Hmm.
speech to make it seem a little bit more polished, but really I was just winging it. And I I posted the video probably by like 11 something, and the orders started coming in within 6 minutes,
Hmm.
and it just blew my mind because I didn't feel like I had any street cred for people to just buy it. So that was really fun. Like by the end of that day, I had sold over like 50 copies, and I had no shipping supplies. Like I did not know what I was doing. So we kind of had to figure those things out as I
After the
went. But
fact,
it was
yeah.
so fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at a low volume, hand bombing stuff to the post office isn't that big a deal. So
No,
that's
no.
that's okay, right? But after that initial success of 250 sold out of your closet last November to now, how many did you print between then and now?
Yeah, so after I sold out of those, I was like, I need to get, I need to find probably a cheaper manufacturer, and I basically found one where I was going to have to order like minimum 500, and
Okay.
so I was like, then that's what I'm going to do. So I ordered 500 in January, and those got here pretty much right before the first convention, like a week and a half
Oh,
maybe
that's lucky.
before
That's
that
great.
first.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I had to do like expedited shipping for some
Oh,
of them just because I was nervous about it. Um, but yeah, so I ordered that many, and I will say, like by that point, I'd kind of exhausted my bank of friends and family or
yeah.
Facebook friends that I didn't actually know that well. And so this is where it was like, okay, this is really where I get to test it. I take it to these conventions. I'd never been to a convention before of any kind.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, so I had no, I watched so many YouTube videos ahead of time just trying to figure out like what do I need to do. I was posting in the Facebook group saying like what do I put on my table because I just didn't know.
Right.
But I thought like this will be a really good is litmus test the phrase? I don't even know what that means. Uh,
Litmus.
Litmus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Litmus
MUS.
test.
Yeah.
Litmus.
Great.
That's good.
But basically just seeing, okay, people who aren't just buying it because they know me, would people be interested in it? And it was really cool to see just how much people enjoyed it. And yeah, I just got a lot of really good feedback. And I sold some, which was good.
Excellent. So, when you were doing the selling at your table, how did that change from the selling that you did on the viral video type stuff?
Yeah. When I did it, when I posted that video on Facebook, it was just me talking to my friends, it felt like. And so I was very honest in the video. I was like, I've never done this before, so I appreciate any advice. And so then when I got to the booth, I was like, I have to act like I have it all together. That's what I thought going into it.
Oh,
And the first day setting up, I had so many butterflies in my stomach because I was terrified. I had no clue what it was going to be like. Everyone else had such cool setups and these really like fancy printed things. I had like hot glued a magnet to a paper towel holder so it could hold up like a sign with my social on it. Anyway, so very just low
DIY.
budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very DIY stuff. And I was
But it
nervous,
didn't
but then
look
that first
that
day,
way.
like, I'm glad you feel that way. If you were able to like look at it behind, you would see there's a lot of like duct tape and hot glue. Um, but you only see one side of it, so it's fine. Uh, but what changed my perspective like very quickly was just that. I mean, the people that were there, like touring the booths, they were all really, really nice. But also, all the other vendors were so incredibly generous with information. I met Kat there, and I was just blown away at how kind they were and how welcoming they were to that world, and how much they wanted to see you succeed. And so then I did not feel like, oh, I have to have the perfect words for an elevator pitch every time someone comes to my booth. I was kind of like, I can just enjoy this, be myself, and just focus on sharing my game.
Yeah. I think the more authentic you are as well, and
That's
that's what I kind of
actually
was
the
wondering
main
about.
thing.
Yeah. I was wondering about your video, just how authentic it was. And if maybe that was
Very.
yeah, like it was like the call to action was like just, hey, very authentic. um, and I think you find your stride as you do it more and more to the point where it's that combination of this is a real person talking to you, and also it's, not slick, because slick is a little maybe too far one way, but it's still
Sure.
a good pitch, right? It's a good sales pitch.
Hmm.
Um, and so did you find that over the course of the convention that you changed what you said a lot, or was it just very little, or just kind of more about you?
No, yeah, there was a lot of things that I would kind of try out on a couple people and then decide whether or not it was good. Which, sometimes it's hard to do that because it could just be that that person just is not interested in talking to you.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to do it a couple times, but even just trying to explain it, trying to compare it to different things and then realizing I really shouldn't be doing that. Like I can say, oh, it's one of those guess the secret word games, but I shouldn't just say it is this game if you added this, because that doesn't really set my game apart very much. So I fine tuned it a little bit there, especially fine tuning the examples that I gave.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, because like I had one visual example that I could use, and then I realized this would be so much more fun if I could actually play a little bit with the people that are coming by. Like if I can have them draw a card, they get to choose what the secret word is, and then we kind of go back and forth trying to create clues. So
Yes.
things like that definitely helped to make it more interactive.
Yeah.
Um, and also, one big thing that was really helpful was telling people that my game was in the game library. I kind of felt like a little weird about donating it at first because I thought, oh, but this is like money that I need to survive. Not
Oh,
really,
it's
but
it's a
just,
lost leader, right?
Oh no,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so
it's
but then
it's a
I
big deal
realized
donating a
it
copy.
is. Well, but I have to say, like, so many people were able to play it when I wasn't even watching them.
Yeah.
And then they would come back and say, "Hey, I played your game last night." And I was like, "How did you
Yoink.
know about it?" Yeah, and I was like, "This was actually a really good idea. I'm glad I donated it."
Yeah, so the nice thing about it is that people, especially when you're a one woman show, right? Was it
Yeah,
just you at the table? Yeah, right. And you
for
can't
the most part, yeah.
demo a full game, and you don't have a demo table, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have another person out at the gaming tables demoing. You got to have it somewhere so people can actually experience the whole thing, even if it's just a 15-20 minute game, right? They
Sure,
want to
yeah.
experience the whole thing. That will allow them to feel whether or not they want to spend the X amount of dollars on it, right? And I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
really good idea. It's a great alternative. Of course, if they can have a guided experience, that might be a little bit better. But some
Yeah.
people can't sign up at the right times. Sometimes there's not enough demo space available. And so having those copies in the library, I mean, when you think about it, the cost to you is, what, $3.50
Right.
per unit, right? And like
Yeah, pretty much.
you probably made that back on the first sale, right? Or two sales, right? To make that all back. So
Sure.
I think it's a great idea to support the convention's library, and that means it's going to be in that library year after year after year, right? Which is also good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I did have help one day. My brother and his wife, they came and like kind of manned the fort for me. While I did get to go do like an hour demo that people had signed up for. Um, and that was another one of those situations where I was like, I mean, I've played this game so many times, but in this scenario, what is this going to be like? Are people even going to come? And I think we had about 20 people come and
That's
they
awesome.
stayed the whole hour and like played the whole time. And other than a couple people that I knew, otherwise, like I didn't know any of them. So I was like, why did you even choose to come to this? I mean,
So
thank
did
you,
did you
but
have multiple tables running?
I did. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
like
that's
three
awesome.
tables going at once. We could have technically combined all of them. My game can play like 3+ players, so I've played with up to like 30 people at a time.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's a great
Yeah,
selling feature,
theoretically,
actually. Yeah.
it is a party game, true and
Yeah.
true. But yeah, it was fun for me to get to explain the rules, but then kind of wander between the different tables and
Yeah.
make sure that people were having a good time, like joke around with them. Yeah, I really really
Did
enjoyed
you get
that.
to have like a Tony Robbins headset on when you did it? And like,
No, that would have been cool
yeah,
though.
that would have been much cooler.
Yeah, next time, next time.
Okay.
I was going to say you can get them quite inexpensively, and then I was like, or not now. But yeah, they
I
are
Yeah.
know.
useful, those little headsets to have. But bear in mind, they are quite obnoxious to the other people demoing, so choose
Sure.
wisely about whether you use one of those.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
One of the things I noticed was that you had enormous enthusiasm and you were open to what everyone had to tell you. Like I noticed you
Mm.
had a very experienced booth holder next to you who had clearly been sort of giving you some
Yes.
advice when I came over to chat, and I could tell he was like listening to everything I was saying and just like really really keen to tell you some more. So what were your neighbors like? What was it like for you
Oh, they
having
were
these neighbors
awesome.
around?
I just I cannot speak highly enough of them. They were amazing. They kind of felt like big brothers to me in a sense because they just were so I don't even know if protective is the right word, but they wanted to see me do well.
Yeah.
So yeah, on my right, I had Ethan from Dragon Roast Coffee, awesome company. He's like doing his own thing, roasting his own coffee, and it's all like Dungeons and Dragons themed, which was awesome. And he just gave me so many great tips of how to invite people in. Like he had a dice roll thing that would get people to come to his booth, and also just constantly checking in, seeing how things are doing. And he did a random like video highlighting my game that was very professionally done, and I had never had anything like that done for me. So it was really, really fun to see that. He was also at the next convention I went to in Nebraska, so it was cool to see him again there. And then across from me, I also had a guy. His name was Mike. He was selling like trail mix type things. I think it was Mountain Man fruit and nut or something. So not like game or type things. He's selling snacks. But he was
Hey,
my first
gamers need
customer.
a lot of snacks.
Yeah, they do. His
Yeah.
booth was like very busy the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, but he bought the first two games from me like before we even opened on Friday, and that gave me such a confidence boost.
That's awesome.
Um, and just the whole time he kept saying like, I bet you're going to get to 50, I bet you're going to get to 60, and all these things. And yeah, it was very encouraging. And then there were some other people who were highlighting their game Mantle of the Keeper, which looked awesome. I didn't have the chance to get to play it, but those guys, it was cool to see them because they were doing what I was doing, but they had already been doing it for like a year. So I was able to learn from them. We were able to talk about our experiences, how they had gone the Kickstarter route and everything. And it was cool. It was cool to learn how everyone had gotten there. And we had a really fun time, I would say.
It is a whole thing. Like there's a whole vibe to it. It's
I
almost
think
like
that was
Oh, I can't hear anything. Can you hear, Kat?
I can't hear Kat anymore.
Okay.
She's
Let's
moving
see
her
what
hands
happens.
slowly though.
Okay. It's got to
and
happen at least once, right?
oh, and then she blew up. She's exploded. Oh, she's back.
Are we all back?
I don't
I
know.
can
Are
hear
you
you.
back? We can hear you
Okay,
now.
yay. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yay.
You were saying
Oh,
something and
this
then you're
is
doing
so
things with
Zoom
your hands.
meeting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I started talking, and then everyone kind of was just back, and I was like, no, I'm just going to wait.
Okay, so you go.
What I was saying is, I've had years and years of experience at craft markets before I started doing booths and
Mm.
things. And as
Mm.
Troy is saying here, I'm glad you saw that, Sen, because that's what I wanted to point out. One of the most important resources you have, especially if you're doing a booth on your own, is the people around you. And if you connect with those people around you, there's always something you forget. And the more you do it,
Yeah.
the more likely it is that someone is going to either have something you need or you're going to have something they need.
Like duct
So
tape.
one of the things like duct
Uh-huh.
tape, like Sharpies, like all of those little, like
Yep.
change,
Yeah.
all of those things, like I
Or
had just not planned
or
to
they'll
have
spell
cash.
you. They'll
And
spell you so you can go pee. That's a good thing.
exactly, yeah.
Hmm.
And the other thing that I always do at craft markets is what I call a karma seed. So I sow a little karma seed at every market I go around, and
Yeah,
at
that's
craft
smart.
markets when I have a booth, I go around and I sort of pat the things at people's booths that I think are going to sell, and I sort of say nice things to them, and I make sure I always buy at least one thing before we open from someone.
Yeah.
And for me, that boosts my sales because I
Yeah,
feel
for
good from
sure.
them feeling good. And I only ever did that at craft markets because it's a bit nuts to try and do that at big conventions. But I have started doing it again at conventions because it really does help boost your mood when you've
Yeah.
given something to someone, and then you come back to your booth and you're all like, okay, let's go. And, encouraging the people around you and all of that community feeling, it's something that is really hard to explain to someone who hasn't had a booth. And now that you've done it
Hmm.
a few times by the sounds of it, isn't it funny how you sort of see the whole vibe differently when you've seen it from behind a booth? It's
Yes.
you haven't attended. So
Well,
you don't know the
but
other
I've
side.
been by and I'm just even thinking of going to some event that where they like block off downtown. They have a bunch of
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
vendors and people selling their stuff, and I'm always I'm kind of nervous in those environments because I'm like, oh, people are going to try and sell me stuff, and now being on the other end of it, I'm like, oh, I can look at people differently now because it's not that scary.
It's not.
And people just like they just want to be there to help you. And so yeah, it is so different. The vibe is very different. And now I'm like I want to go to a game show or a game convention just to enjoy it, not to try and sell my game or be a vendor, but just
Oh,
to
you
enjoy it, play
totally should.
games.
You
Yeah, oh, I'm
100%
gonna
should.
I'm gonna make it
I
happen.
cannot recommend that enough, particularly with the big ones, simply
Mm-hmm.
because like you came in your very first convention and you had a very well put together booth. It was appropriate for your level, it was appropriate for your game. You had a branded shirt, you were well
Yes,
presented,
I
you knew
did.
what you were going to talk about. Exactly. Exactly. Like you understand the core stuff that you need to do to look convincing, right?
Yeah.
You came in there and you were like, I'm repping my brand, I'm here for this thing. The
Sure,
next
yeah.
stage, really, in my opinion, is to go to one of the big ones and just look and see
Mm,
what catches your eye, what things you think, wow, that's brilliant. One day I want to do that, or oh, I can't believe they did that way. This is awkward, or anything in between, right? All the things you can learn from that, and the way that you can kind of just like when you're thinking about designing a game and you're thinking, oh, I like that. That's interesting. I'm going to store that away. I might use that, or wow, no, that's never going to be me. You can do the
yeah.
same thing with booths.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot that you can get from that experience outside just going along and being like, yeah, I'm here to have fun. And, which is also really important. Make sure you actually do
Mm-hmm.
take some time to do that. But when you walk that floor, it's amazing how much you can learn simply from just observing. Like, how are people
Yeah.
reacting to that massive flashing screen? Wow, I would have thought they'd hate it, but they love it. Okay, noted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Did you get some?
oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, just seeing all of the different ways that people would draw your attention to their booth, like by having something at different heights, having something that you could interact with in order to try and win something, that people really gravitate towards that sort of thing because there's not a lot of pressure on it. Like you're just, you're either entering a raffle, you're rolling a die, you're spinning a wheel. It's maybe kind of gimmicky, but like it would get people to the booth and get them interested.
It
And
makes sense with a party game.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, definitely with that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just and even like where you stand, like are you just behind the booth the whole time? Are you walking around? So many different things that were very helpful to see.
So, do you have any other designs in mind?
I don't know that I do. I joke that this kind of just happened to me, and that's not entirely true. Like I've put a lot of work into it, but I didn't really set out to come up with a game idea. And so I'm grateful for that, but now I'm like, oh man, what would I do to follow this up? So I'm starting to do different exercises. Kat, you shared a great one with me. The kind of wheel, I don't remember what it was called, but
Game
basically you spin
Jam.
a wheel. Game Jam, yep. But doing things like that to see if maybe I could have a knack for this. Because I think that would be really cool. It has been a very fun process, and I would love to continue doing it with someone else. But I also don't want to like force it. So yeah, I'm kind of in that phase where I'm figuring out if that's something that I do actually have a talent for.
I mean, the other opportunity is maybe what you actually really enjoy is the other part. Maybe you really enjoy, once the game exists, you like turning it into something. You like publishing it, you like promoting it, you like selling
Sure,
it.
there's a
That's
lot of
also
parts.
a very valid and important part. Like each of those are really,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
a good
I'm
point.
probably not going to recommend being a publisher at this stage of the
No,
current
I don't think I
At
could
world's.
least
do
at least not
it.
today.
No, no, no. It's not the
No,
right time for that. Yeah, but
no,
no,
and
it's
I
like
mean,
now. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, I was just gonna say, and I mean, the world is always gonna be changing in those ways, but the skills you learn from that and your project management skills, which you can
True.
leverage and you can use in those areas, there are definitely at least some publishers who are gonna get through this and will want people to do that. Or you can do it yourself and you can pay it, because what you see, and what I find really interesting about what you see, is not just like this worked and this didn't work, how this worked, which things about this worked. So maybe you have a marketing brain, maybe you have a marketing publisher brain, maybe you, and so I have very much a marketing brain as well. And so those are the things I look at. I look at, that's really interesting. People seem to have bought everything on this level, or everything of this
Right.
color, or everything of this type when when I've got a particular, or I'm watching my neighbors' booths and things like that. And so I
Mhm.
sort of store it away, and that's the kind of thing I've noticed you seeing as well. But I think you see it slightly differently, so it's kind of fun to think about which bits of it you really like.
Sure. Yeah, no, it is fun. Well, and again, just because I feel so new to all of this in general, um, it's been fun figuring out, like, kind of from start to finish, all that goes into getting a game out there. Like,
Hmm.
having to build my own website, having to design it. And I'm not an artistic person. Like, I have terrible handwriting. If you asked me to paint a picture of a person, it would look like a potato and not even a good potato. But learning how to, use what tools I could to try and design this, trying to do the social media thing, which is not my forte. I do not want to be a social media manager. I can tell you that much. But it is fun to kind of peel back the curtain and see
Hmm.
how people do this, how people make it work, and also see how many great resources there are out there if you want to learn how to do something. So yeah, I'm still so early in the stages that I'm kind of exploring what I want to do going forward with it. But I do know that I really like where I'm at, and I want to keep learning
Yeah.
more about it.
Yeah. One of the best things that I ever did, I think I've told Kat this story. It's is going to a convention on somebody else's dime. So that was a good thing because I was
Yeah.
hired by a company to work in their booth, right? And
Oh,
so they were
cool.
paying for, everything we did, which was included wages, food. We just had to get to the place, right? So they didn't cover transportation, which is fine at the time. This was like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But I learned so much from that weekend of just teaching other people's games because I didn't have anything vested in it. If they sold or didn't sell, it was not, on my, you know, profit and loss sheet. It was on somebody else's
Sure.
profit and loss sheet. But I learned so much and that was invaluable to me because the when you work for somebody's booth, they don't expect you to be at the booth for 12 hours a day.
Mm,
They'll schedule you when they need you. They'll schedule you when you don't when they need coverage as well, right? So that kind of stuff, especially at like a bigger company's booth where they have like 12, 13, 14 people. You've got a couple hours every day to kind of wander around and look at stuff. And if you don't have to worry about your own booth and your own
mm-hmm.
product, that's a brilliant thing because then you can have your brain open to all the other things that you may not be able to think about if you're worried about the logistics of how do I pack this up when we're ready to go, or how many have I sold, and all those other pressures you have when you are the publisher and the designer of a game that you're trying to sell yourself. So I just think it's a really valuable option to go to a
Yeah.
convention and do similar things and be part of the on the industry side of things, but not your side, not all your eggs in one basket type thing.
Yeah.
And And when you're working for a bigger company, say for example, if you were working for All Play or I don't know, 25th Century or Ravensburger or any of those folk there, like if
Hmm.
you're working for someone bigger like that, you tend to also get invited to things like industry parties. So you could end up,
Ooh.
and obviously with different connections, sometimes that can happen anyway. But you get to go to these things where you're networking and you're chatting to people, and you get to find out all of this other stuff that happens
Yeah.
behind the curtain, which is really neat. And the other part of the industry that we haven't really talked about, and that you've done without really understanding you were doing it, is the development and playtesting part of getting a game from an idea
Yeah.
to when it's ready. That's another thing that you can do at conventions. And you can just make that something that you do, and you learn so much from playing other people's games and giving them feedback and trying to give them
Mm-hmm.
helpful feedback. And I can't recommend enough for you to just go to those things, even if you're like, oh, but I don't have a game to bring. Great. They love that. There's nothing a designer likes more than someone who's there to be a willing playtester who doesn't want to
Sure.
playtest back in a lot of cases, because they're just like, oh, wicked, fantastic. You'll play my game and then I don't have to pay you. Oh, a lot of people love that. Personally, I love the exchange. But a lot of people will be like, oh, neat. Okay, well, I've actually got 3 prototypes. You end
Yeah.
up spending 2 hours playing their games, but you learn so much from that. And you learn how to be a good playtester, you learn how to give good feedback. You learn by watching how they accept and how they use the feedback. And if you're lucky enough to playtest with someone at, say, Sen's level, you get to
Mm-hmm.
see how someone runs a playtest when they're an expert at it.
Yeah.
So a lot of us think, oh, okay, I'm running a playtest, I have to do the whole thing. Nope. You can even just do one round and just be like, no, that's not doing what I want. All right, I'm just going to change a couple of things. Let's do it again. And I didn't know I could do that until I
Yeah.
playtested with someone who just went, nope, this isn't working. And I was like, oh my God, what's wrong? And I can't remember who it was the first time. It's happened a lot now, but the very first time I just remember this shock. Like, oh no, what's wrong? He's just like, it's not doing what I want it to do. Hang on just a sec. And he just scribbled on a couple of cards or something like that. And then we played a different version. I was like, what's
Wow.
happening?
You can do that?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I mean, that's another thing
Mhm.
too, right, Cassie, is that there's cons that aren't about selling product at all. There are
Mm-hmm.
game design specific conventions like Unpub that just ran last week, which is
Proto
probably,
ATL the week
yeah,
before.
yeah.
Oh
All
yeah.
these game
Yeah.
design conventions, right? Where it's just game designers meeting up, play testing each other's games. You don't even have to bring a game. Oddly enough, like if you go and you just sign up as a play tester, your registration is usually free because they survive on play testers, right?
That makes sense.
They
Yeah.
love a playtester.
So
I'd
you
Yeah,
could
love to
go,
play test.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so you could go and just play test and
yeah.
see what floats other people's boats, right? That's that finding
True, yeah.
empathy part of game design, which is I think really important, is understanding what
Uh-huh.
motivates other people to play. If you're interested in doing this more and more, and I think the nice thing about having your own publishing line, if that's what you're going to continue, is that you can just design the games you like, which is a good thing, right? Like that's what Amy does. Amy Bio does that, right?
Mm-hmm.
She designs games that she really likes, Pink Tiger Games. She doesn't sign other people's games, and she doesn't pitch her games to anybody else. So it's
Mm.
to say boutique is a little bit derogatory in some ways, like some because some people think that's like a vanity thing, but it's not in her case. It's just that she
Sure.
has an oeuvre. She's an artist, right? She has an oeuvre of games that she likes to make, and that's what it is. And she just happens to also be the publisher for her own things. And if that's what you
Mm-hmm.
like too, then you can go that way. But if you're ever thinking about pitching to other people, or if you're ever thinking about taking other people's games and publishing them, then I think having an understanding of what makes other people's boats float is a good
Mm-hmm.
thing, right?
Yeah, and you know, it's funny you bring that up because I remember like 3 years ago or so when I was printing my first run of like 100 copies or whatever it was, um, I was so nervous about like someone stealing my idea, and I was looking up like, can I get my name like trademarked or copy, all these different things. In fact, originally it was Jibble Jabble, but then it seemed like that was too close to what someone else had, so I changed it to Jibber Jabble, which really wasn't that different. Anyway, all that to say. Um, People don't really do that. I mean, I'm sure there's rare cases where it happens, but like people stealing ideas doesn't really seem to be a huge issue in this world. Like everyone really, they have a lot of their own ideas that they want to
Yeah.
make happen.
Hmm.
Too many ideas probably, and so understanding that that wasn't as big of a concern as I thought was really freeing because then I was like, oh, well then I can just be excited to share
Yeah.
my game and I can post on social media. It's okay. Um, but yeah, it'd be so much more fun to have approached it like play testing out it out in the open because I played it with my family and friends, and so if I had been able to take a different route with it, I'm curious to see like what my game would have ended up as, like what different game
And
mechanics
you
might have
still
been a little
could.
bit different. And exactly, yeah, that's very true. I did not print that many.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
could,
and the other thing is it
you
could
could,
lead to
well, the
another
other thing
full
is you
game
could
for you,
still,
right?
True.
exactly. You could take the printed version, or you could do a more basic version that you're happy to write all over, and just take it
Yeah.
along to a playtesting session and just see what other games come out of it.
Yeah,
There's an
that's a good
opportunity
point.
for expansions. There's an opportunity for, all those sorts of things. We never. The thing with game designers is that we're very terrible at finishing the game. So some games do continue to be in development like permanently. I'm
Sure.
quite good at going. This game has given me what I need from it, because I generally have about 20 going at once. But most
Wow, that's
people who
amazing.
are normal, oh no, it's awful. It's awful. It's just there's this constant sort of, if you imagine you had 20 baby birds
Oh,
and they're all going, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, and you're like, I would like to
yeah.
sleep. That's what it's like. It's not a good thing. It's not always, I mean, I never have a problem with having like an idea of what I want to do, but at the
Uh-huh.
same time it's just so having
Constant.
just one game, I can't even imagine how amazing that must be. Like, you
I
can
mean,
just focus
it
on one.
is nice to only have one that I've been focusing, like that I've been able to learn all of these things with just one sole focus. I think that
Yeah.
that's probably been beneficial since I have gone about this the way that I have.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there's many ways to address it or approach the issue of
Hmm.
designing games. I'm more in Cat's camp of many games at once. But that's because I don't publish anything myself, so I just pitch to other
Hmm.
people. So I have to have that kind of constant flow of ideas coming out. um, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It is what it is, and you just kind of
Sure.
got used to the workflow of it all. So, in terms of community, like let's get back to that whole finding
Hmm.
community. Um, what what did it mean to you when it sounds like the community that you found rallied around you, and then you saw them again, a couple of them again at a different convention? How does it feel to be part of something?
So fun.
Yeah,
I, especially just with kind of where I was at in my life at that point, I had spent most of my adult life very tied to like my work as my identity. And when I left my, big corporate job last year, it was kind of like, what am I doing?
right.
Like who do I have around me? I mean, I'm really involved in like my church, and so those people were awesome, but also it just kind of felt like I didn't really have something fun to look forward to. Like I didn't have something that was kind of fulfilling me in those ways that my job kind of had, like feeding my ego, I guess, honestly. And
Well,
so yeah, it's kind of a part of it. But when I did start to get connected to these different board game communities and things like that, it was like, oh my goodness, this is a totally different side of myself that I'm being able to express, which is really fun. And also, I'm being surrounded by all of these people that are so creative and really push you to be better because they are trying to get themselves to be better. Um, and so it's kind of like the what is that phrase? The rising tide lifts all
Yeah,
yep.
that's
ships.
all ships are
Is that
boats.
it?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
I second guess
Yeah.
myself all the time with phrases.
that sounds like a
But yeah, I
game.
mean, oh, you're right. Okay, let's mark this date in history. We'll remember it. But yeah, it's like everyone is kind of growing and improving together and pushing each other,
Yeah,
and it's really fun to be a part of that.
yeah, I think that's great. It's funny that you're saying this because I just taught a class today about retirement and about switching jobs and losing your job and all that kind of stuff. Um, and you know, there's this concept called well, Erickson and all the psychology stuff, but when your job kind of becomes your social hub, right?
Hmm.
And your job gives you a feeling of competence and a feeling of I'm going to have compensation money wise, and I have some skill at this, right? And all of that, when you lose it, especially when you're around our age, when you have, dependents and family, and people have expectations, and people think
Hmm.
of that as part of your identity as well. You think of it as part of your identity. Then you're like, well, why did I even do that? Why did I quit this thing that gave me so many things? And the
Yeah.
reason that a lot of people do that is because they want to express themselves in a different way, or use part of their brain or personality that's not being challenged by their current job. And it sounds
Hmm.
like, your shift over into voiceover acting and into game design is, I don't know what you did before, but it sounds like it's not really a shift to something completely different. It sounds like it's going back to when you were part of like musical theater and all that kind of stuff, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, like
Interesting.
what I was doing before, I was a project manager at a like tech company here, and most of my day was like leading Zoom meetings and trainings and things like that. So I was constantly on camera, like constantly having to lead situations, problem solve, all that kind of stuff. And I was good at it, but for me, it was just the burnout and the stress
Sure.
was too much. And so then deciding, okay, do I want to do something completely different? It felt at first like these creative endeavors would be completely different, but there's been so many ways that the skills that I gained doing that like corporate job have really helped me here. The project management, being able
Yeah.
to, just even do basic accounting and understanding how to get, good quotes from different people. And there's so much that really bleeds into what I'm doing now, and it makes me far more grateful for what I had in hindsight, but also really grateful that I'm not in that season of life anymore.
Right.
Yeah, formal
Yeah.
experience in project management is probably one of the most useful skills that I've been able to transfer across from my IT
Sure.
life
Yeah.
into this life. That
Mm-hmm.
I know how to run projects. I've run IT projects. I've run renovation projects. I can take all of the stuff that I learned from that, and I can help make this journey of publishing a game more successful, because I understand I need to plan for this, I need to plan for that. But even just simple things like, what do I pack for this convention? That is project management. And people don't
It is,
realize
yeah.
that, because when you're thinking about packing as just a normal standard, I'm going on a trip person, you're thinking, is it going to rain? Is it going to be cold? Is it going to be hot? No. When you're packing for a convention, there is so much more that you have to
Yeah.
anticipate. You don't even know. You don't even know. So you have to just sort of be like, oh, maybe I'm going to need to be able to. And so your brain starts to do this other stuff. And how am I going to be able to bring this stuff back? And what if I get a pallet delivered, but I've only got 2 games to bring back? Can I fit that in my suitcase so I don't have to pay for the oh, and yeah, there's a lot that you can bring from those what sound really boring jobs to a lot of people that are actually extremely creative problem solving jobs
Yeah.
across to other creative problem solving jobs.
Yeah. Transferable
Yeah,
skills.
absolutely. Oh,
Very,
so true.
yes. I am very grateful for my wide range of transferable skills. Every
Yeah.
time people look at my CV and they're like, "What? None of this makes any sense." And I'm like, one, I have ADHD. Two, all of these things transfer. If you want me to tell you, I can. It'll take
Yeah,
a
there's
while.
something that links them.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of this. Yeah, the thing that connects them is moi.
So Cassie, tell me what's your next step in this community to either be more
Mm.
part of it, gain more community, find more community. What
Right.
would you like to find?
I would love to really get plugged in with like the local groups that are playtesting. I know that there's a great one, and I'm forgetting the exact name of like the Discord channel, but it's like the Oklahoma Tabletop Game Design or something like that. Some
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
combination
that's
of the two.
it
the
sounds
game
like
design.
something that Marcus should be involved in. Do you know Marcus Ross yet?
Maybe,
Marcus Ross?
maybe.
Is he in Oklahoma? I thought he
I
was in
have no
Nebraska.
clue.
Oh, he might be in Nebraska. I think he's in Lincoln. You're
Oh
right.
wait,
But
You're
but
right.
definitely,
I was at the Great Plains Game Festival in Lincoln, and that name does sound really familiar. So I might have met him.
definitely
But I
Will and
think
Dave
it's
are involved in
yes.
the Oklahoma one. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and
Oh
they
yeah,
were
he's
very
totally in
nice.
Lincoln. Yeah.
Dave was really nice at TokenCon as well. But yeah, like I want to support the other designers that are trying to like go through that playtesting phase and really perfect their game as much as you can. I think that that would be really fun. I want to go to more conventions, some to just enjoy it. Like I'd love to go to like Origins or something like that, just to go enjoy. Because one, I
You
couldn't afford
should.
a booth, and two, I don't want that pressure. I just want to learn.
Don't do that yet.
Um,
Not,
yeah, no, I'm not there.
not yet.
Uh, but I want to do that, and I do want to, make sure that I'm exploring all the best paths for my game,
Hmm.
because it's a very special thing to me, and what matters most to me is trying to share it with whoever would enjoy it. And so figuring out what that looks like, if that would mean partnering with other people, if that would mean, working with an established publisher and kind of becoming a part of that community. I'm open to a lot of things, and I guess it's kind of a nice place to be in. I'm not afraid of all the options. It's more just like, oh wow, I can kind of take my time to see what makes the most sense and where I want to go with it, and enjoy these steps of the process that I kind of missed out on when I was just doing it by myself.
Yeah. Another suggestion is for you to eventually, I mean, whenever you want, really, is be part of the mentorship program. So the Unpub Tabletop Mentorship Program.
I applied for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
good, good, good,
I
good.
also
Yes.
suggested that. It was very funny.
Yes, I
It's a
stumbled
very good
upon it.
program.
It was, I think it was because I was trying to figure out, I'd heard of Unpub's speed pitching events, and I was like, is that something that I should look into? And so I was just on their website looking around, and I saw something about that program, and I thought, oh, this is what I need. Like,
Yeah,
I need someone to kind of hold my hand and answer my questions and, not do everything for me, but
just
maybe
somebody to
guide me
bounce
a little
questions
bit.
off of, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sounding board.
absolutely.
Just to tell you the
Hmm.
things you don't know as well, because I
Yeah.
mean, every single time I have a conversation with someone who's more experienced in this industry than I am,
You'll learn
or who has
something.
different
Yeah,
experience, I'm like,
Sure,
oh,
yeah.
and having someone who's focused on making sure that you know that, it's amazing. There
yeah.
is nothing like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just looked
This
on
sounds
Facebook.
awesome.
There's a Facebook group for the Oklahoma Tabletop Game Designers Group. That's actually the whole
That's
That
it.
title.
sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
206 members, so it sounds like there's a burgeoning community there that would
Hmm.
welcome you with open arms. And I feel confident speaking in their stead because
I mean,
that's how a community
Dave
works.
has actively gone and said, "Oh, I see you're a new designer. Join us." So
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah,
that
I
right?
have his
you're
business card.
definitely.
He added me.
There you go. That's great.
They are
Um
really really cool as well at making sure that they make space for you
Hmm.
in the community. They're some of my favorite people in the tabletop industry. So I
Wow.
highly recommend Will and Dave.
there you go.
Dilworth. Get to.
Before we move on, I just wanted to say hi to the people who are on the stream with us. George, as always, Chris Anthony, Deadpan, Troy, and see, this is like Deadpan. Deadpan, I met at PAX last year for the first time ever, and he's been watching Maple Syrup for a while now, and he doesn't game design. He's not a game designer. He's just a gamer. Just a gamer. He's a
Oh,
gamer,
cool.
but he likes the show and he likes tuning in, likes talking, and he came to see me at our booth at PAX. So that's the other nice thing about going to the conventions is you get to meet some people who you may have only ever talked to like in this kind of
Yeah.
format or
Oh, that's
online
cool.
in text, right? So it's really cool. Troy, hey Troy, how you doing? He's out in Korea. Curve Cut, Jesse Fernandez,
It's
Morris
Luke.
Andrews Jr. And yes, Curve, it's Luke. That's right. He keeps reminding me because I keep forgetting. But Luke, I'm just going to remember that I'm not his father, and that'll help. That would be, yeah, exactly. That'd be Darth Vader, who's his father. And that will. I'm not Darth Vader. See, that's all I have to remember. Cool.
Are they
My
with you?
birthday is May 4th, National Star Wars Day. So
Well, there you go.
I
You're
just want
extra
everyone to
special.
know that. I don't know if he's talking about Darth Vader.
Well, I
Made me
mean,
think
if
about it.
if you're gonna go to nerd conventions, that is like some cred. That's some prime level cred that you can
Yeah,
throw
just built
around.
in.
Yeah. You can thank your parents for that one. Um,
Sure.
so what else is up coming up for Jibber Jibber? Is it Jibber Jabble?
Jibber Jabble, and I'm glad
Okay.
you're struggling with it because that's kind of a built-in Easter egg in the game. Since the game is about not
Not
saying things
talking.
correctly, yeah, yeah, and like spelling the wrong words, like it is kind of intentionally a name that trips people up. So I love it when people have trouble saying it. But yes, Jibber Jabble. Um, Really, like what's on my docket coming up, I have a convention that I'm going to be going to in Rogers, Arkansas. I think it's AdventureCon. Might be going to one in St. Louis as well. And really just I'm, promoting it on my website. I'm trying to gain some additional skills in social media and
Sure.
trying out a few different things to get it to be a little bit more interactive, like letting people actually play through different posts. So that's kind of what I have right in front of me right now. And then I'm just kind of taking it day by day. And also, looking at the current world situation and figuring out like probably right now isn't the best time to
Printed
try and
2,000
order
copies. Yeah.
more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
No, probably not.
selling down what I do have, but also just learning what I can at conventions and hopefully bringing it to more people.
Sounds like a plan. I wanted to ask you a quick question. Do you or could you play the game like online?
Yeah. Yeah, you can. In fact, I had a few different people reach out to me this week and say, "Hey, we're playing it remotely," and I'm like, I hadn't even thought about that. But yeah, it's extremely easy. It's the sort of game that you can play honestly, like in a car on a road
Yeah,
trip.
that's
You
great.
barely need to look at the cards, so it's yeah, very easy to do in different situations.
Because I was wondering if you could do like some TikTok videos of gameplay and have people like
Probably.
play along with you, or have people guess the answer after you do all the
That's
the
what I was
the
thinking too.
clue game or something, right?
I've started this week or last week. I tried to like post something where I'm like, okay, here's the secret word, like
Yeah,
Harry Potter.
yeah.
Player one gives the letter S. What do you do next? And so I've seen like a few people comment on it and be like, oh, I would give this letter. So that's kind of
Slytherin,
fun.
of course.
Whoa, see, that's not one that I've heard. I've heard like
I don't know the
spell
rules of the game.
sorcerer. No, no, you're right. So basically, like if I said the letter S, you would have to continue the clue. So you would say the next letter, not
Oh,
knowing what I'm intending to spell.
oh, okay. So then, yeah, that
Yeah.
would be weird, but yeah, that's a hard word to spell, Slytherin. But yeah, I think
But
that'd be
people do
really
it.
cool. Yeah, if you could, get those things going and get interaction and engagement that way, that'd be cool. And can I ask you about your voiceover stuff? Because I actually went to your
Yeah.
web page, Cassie on the mic, and
Cassie on the mic.
yeah, I like that Mike and Sykes kind of rhyme, so it's good. Um,
I know.
so
I should have done something with that.
right,
Sykes on the mic or something.
yeah.
That would have been better.
um, are you planning on making your services available to this community, the board gaming
Yeah,
community?
that's something that I didn't even realize was a thing until I got to TokenCon, and there
Right.
were people there that were
Huh.
talking about like, oh yeah, we do this, this D&D podcast, like interactive story every week, and things like that. So I'm seeing that there is definitely a world for kind of a crossover with my voiceover and board games, which would be fun.
Yeah.
Whether that's like voicing over promo videos or actually being part of some sort of a role playing game, like that would be really fun. But otherwise, my voiceover stuff that I do it here at my house. This is actually my recording booth back here, which I built with my bare hands, which was fun.
And a lot of hot glue.
Um, yeah. Oh man, that would be terrible. But yeah, I basically just do anything that requires a voice. I stay family friendly,
Mhm.
but audiobook narrations, commercials, video game animations. I've done a few different things here and there, but yeah, if anyone listening needs a voice or something, I have a lot of different things that I can do with it. This is my normal presenter voice, but I can do other things too.
That's
Have you
excellent.
heard of actual play? Do you know
Have
what
I what?
actual
Sorry.
play? Have you heard of the concept of actual play? Do you know what actual play is?
I've not.
So, at a high level, it's like role play games, but what they do is they actually get people to do the game as a performance. So, what you're actually doing is you have generally. So, are you familiar with tabletop role play games?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I just realized I have someone who knows a whole lot more about this than me on the show right now. So
Oh,
Sam,
who's that?
that's you. That's
Oh.
you, Sam.
Yeah, okay. So actual play is you're actually playing the game. It's not like
Hmm.
pre-scripted or anything, but you are, in character. You're expected to be a good player in those kind of ways that not everybody is, right? So you're expected to be using voices and emoting
Okay.
heavily and stuff like that because it's like Kat said, it is a performance of the game
Sounds
in
so fun.
game. Yeah, so it's interesting. So obviously, for those of you out there who know, Critical Role is by far the most famous of the actual play groups, but there are lots of other ones, and I've worked with a bunch of them, and it's actually a really cool phenomenon where people who don't even play Dungeons and Dragons watch these 300
Yeah,
episode
I
series
bet.
because they're just really into the story, they're really into the characters, they're really into the voice actors, and a lot of the ones where it is more like high level is a bad way to say that, but a lot of the more popular ones started off with professional voice actors as the players and
Okay,
the
I
game
gotcha.
master. So like Matt Mercer and a lot of other people, even like do you know the TV show True Blood or Daredevil? Do you know
Oh, I haven't seen them, but I do know what they are.
yeah
Like I've seen clips of them on YouTube.
the main actress from Daredevil, she does a lot of game related stuff. She loves board games and
Cool.
role playing games. So there is a lot of good crossover in that area. Um, and I think it's a really cool thing. So anyway, like a
Yeah,
LARP,
I'm gonna
Naturally,
look
not a
into it
LARP,
because
it's
but
it could be
not really
fun.
LARP.
Well, and I loved
it's
doing improv as a kid, so
Yeah.
if it also incorporates
yes,
some elements of
Oh,
that, like
of
that would
course.
be
That
really
is
fun.
highly
yeah. So like
yes.
role playing games in general are just like improv with dice.
Hmm.
You know, So yeah, Deborah. There we go. George is saying the name, Deborah Ann Wall. Yeah, she is a great
Okay.
proponent of tabletop gaming out there. She has this great
Cool.
video where she explains what role playing is to uh, Josh Barenthal, who is the actor who plays Shane in Walking Dead and the
Mm.
Punisher in the MCU. So it's a very cool video of of her explaining it
Sweet.
to yeah. Yeah. So yeah, look it up. So there you go. There's lots of stuff there. And so anybody out there, people who are looking for voiceover actor, check out CassieOnTheMic.com.
Hmm.
Jibberjabble.
Jibberjabble.com. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
it.
Jibberjabble.com. It's because I can't remember which one is the wrong one. Like Jibber Jabber, that's easy. I can say
Yeah,
that.
no, that's the
But to
point. You're
say
doing great.
Jibber Jabble is and
Yeah, it's hard.
so okay, so people who don't know, why Asian R's sound like L's, it's because we have a lifted palate R. Our R starts at the top of our
Oh,
palate instead of here. And so
interesting.
it's really hard for me to do that
Huh.
switch.
I can change the name of the game if you'd
The
like.
Asian market. Strictly for the Asian market. That'd be funny. Yeah, it's colloquially called a flap R,
Okay.
where the R starts
That
at the
sounds
palate.
horrible.
You learn something new every day, I
Right
guess.
there.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what happens. Excellent. So, hey, it's time to go, which is sad because we've had such a good time talking to you. But you know what? I'm hopeful that we'll see you around at conventions because it sounds like you're getting out tomorrow. Although I know that Luke is asking this question here. Are you guys going to American conventions this year? And I have to say that I am not. I will not be going to any conventions this year. I've canceled all my appearances and all of my things, just because the state of the nation is very fraught for people who are not American. Right? I'm not American. I don't live in America, and for me to travel across the border, I like to drive, not fly, and it's potentially more difficult in a car, because in a plane or not, they typically will refuse you at the site of the plane, right? Before you board. Whereas in a
Oh,
car, they will
interesting.
just detain you where you are because you're actually on American soil, right? So
Mm.
it's not worth my time. I have dependents. My parents are very old, and my dad has Alzheimer's, so I can't leave them in the lurch by being detained in some ice facility in Louisiana for God knows how long. If that,
Yeah.
I know that's catastrophizing. I get it, but
It's not though.
when you look like this and you're not from America, what's the risk of going for playing a couple board games isn't worth it to me. So yeah, no, Luke, I'm not going to go. Sorry. But Cassie and Kat are actually in country, so they may be going to some. No,
You
No,
Kat's
say
I'm
saying
Kat's
I'm,
no.
shaking
I'm
her
not.
head.
I'm also not American. I live here at the moment, but I'm not American, and I'm not going to be putting myself through any more local travel. Where, as most of you probably know now, we're looking at moving overseas, and until things settle down, yeah, unfortunately. But we are hoping to be at Essen this year if we
Oh,
can
that's
swing that.
cool. Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
that's pretty cool. That was going to be like our 5 year plan was to
That's accelerated.
well, it's swapped around.
Yeah.
We were going to try and get to Essen, and now we'll be in Europe, hopefully. And so getting to Essen won't be such a challenge. It'll be more a case of, does anyone want me to work their booth at Essen so I can have an exhibitor badge, please? If you would like to have all of this at your booth, please let me know. I would love that. Um, and you also get George with that package. He does the lifting.
There you go. Excellent, excellent. But
Yeah.
Cassie, you can go to all the cons in America for us, and
Okay.
you can rep maple syrup there.
Will do. Will do.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's see where are we going here. We have, if you want to reach out to us in other channels, you can find me on Blue Sky at Senfeng Lim. I still do post on X, but only for ludology and maple syrup. I don't post much on my own stuff anymore, just because it's a cesspool. Um, Dreyer ink on all the things except for X for Kat and George. There you go. And you can find us still on maple syrup at maple syrup on all the things. And for Cassie, you can reach out to her at contact at jibberjabble.com.
Yes, you did it.
I
Nice
did
job. You
not.
got it.
I did not. That was very
You
slow.
can always find me on Facebook too, and yeah, I'm pretty easy to find, even if you can't type the name in spelled correctly. That's
Type it. I
fine.
just can't say it.
You'll find me.
And then patreon.com/maple syrup if you want to help keep the lights on. That's good. Next week, we will likely be taking a break because I have a very important meeting and Kat will not be available. And that very important meeting is something I can't talk about, but it is game related, and it is like potentially life-changing level of importance for me. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Games can get you cool things, guys, is all I'm saying. There
I
you go.
That
really
is
hope
awesome.
it's what I think it is, and I know you can't tell me. Don't tell me, please, if there's any NDA around it until I'm allowed to say it, just in case. But I'm very excited, and I hope that it is what I hope that it is.
Well, there's no NDA because it's my thing, but I can't really say because I don't even know what it's all happening because I've other people working in the background making things work for Banana and myself. So there you go. Oh, cool. Yeah. Luke, definitely ask us questions on Blue Sky all the time. We would love to answer anything you ask there. And because we're not here next week, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I'll say, hey, ask us anything on Blue Sky. Kat and I will answer those questions over the week that we're not on air. But that's it for tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, hey, Cassie, I know we didn't tell you to do this at the beginning because we were rushing to get audio fixed because it was my audio that wasn't working properly. But you have to give a piece of final advice.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Nice.
got her.
Okay. See, I feel like I'm the one who should be asking y'all for advice. Um, just make your first move. Like if you have an idea, do something to make it happen. Don't worry about having all the right steps in the right order, or doing everything according to the perfect path that always has 100% success. Just focus on the next step and doing something. And each day, try to do like something to get you further to your goal.
Yeah, or every year, like Cassie did for a 2 week
Yeah,
huge,
two
like,
weeks a year. You can bank
intense
it.
stint.
It's fine.
It got you there.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
the
it
right
did.
way to
It
do
did.
it.
For
Well,
sure.
it's hard to make moves when you're busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true. I'm just glad that I never forgot about it. Like
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
glad that it kind of stayed in the back of my mind.
There you go. All right, everybody, go check out Jibberjabble, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. See you later.